Afternoon, everybody. CanadaPoly.com has private forums, and by private, I mean you have to register in order to see them and in order to comment. So I've heard this register button doesn't work so well, so the login button does, and then hit the register down here. So give that a shot, and I'm working on fixing it, but I'm very busy. So we'll see when I get there. Hopefully it'll be soon. All right, and this is what it looks like when you do register. So we are having conversations. It's a very interesting place to be. Come and join us. We like talking about Canadian politics. And today's discussion in this video is Maxime Bernier. There's a lot of very good videos on this page. I'm going to show you two of them, and just for specific targeted reasons, and then I'm going to read you some of the article. And it's quite interesting. This is a very recent speech. I believe he was doing a rally, and this is on Friday, the December 21st. And so he was speaking here, and I think his English has gotten better. So he's very sharp with his speech. It's very easy to understand him, in my opinion. And it's even notable between like August, September to now. So there's been an improvement, in my opinion. But I listen a lot, so I could be mistaken there, but I haven't heard his speaking in a while, and there's an improvement here, and in the interview I'll show you in a minute. But here we go. Maxime Bernier talking about the People's Party and why he's doing what he's doing, etc. And this is a Global News article titled "Maxime Bernier Challenges Quebec Political Orthodoxy with New Party." Here we go, Max.
This is why government never stops growing. Taxes and regulation never stop increasing. The Liberal government is out of touch and out of control. It has become unable to solve basic problems such as the migrant crisis and pipeline approval. We see it in the way the old parties try to attract votes and support, not by offering solutions that appeal to all Canadians, but by pandering to various groups and dividing Canadians into little tribes that can be bought with promises, privileges, and taxpayers' money. Nobody speaks for all Canadians. Nobody speaks for the people. The People's Party of Canada will fight for the same fundamental values that I have put forward during my leadership campaign last year: individual freedom and personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. We don't believe that government intervention is a solution for everything. Government should not intervene to solve each and every problem on the road to a utopian and unrealistic vision of the society. We want smaller government because we support individual freedom and personal responsibility. We have faith in people. We have faith that they have the ability, the dignity, and the right to make their own decisions and determine their own destiny.
And I'll leave him there because it's a campaign speech, so the whole thing is meant to be kind of the message. But that's an important part. And he talked about a lot of things there: smaller government, personal responsibility, getting the government out of the way, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of meat in the things that he's saying. I appreciate all of that. Here's an interesting interview, and at 2 minutes 46 seconds, he starts talking about having a candidate in every riding. I thought this exchange just before it was worth watching, and he starts attacking the Conservatives at about a minute after that, and he starts talking about Andrew Scheer and being a centrist and whipping his party to sign the Paris Accord. So it's interesting to watch Bernier attack both the Liberals and the Conservatives and have valid arguments for attacking both. Trudeau's just inept, completely, totally inept with his management style and all the things that he's doing to Canada. It is an absolute travesty that more of his MPs aren't crossing the floor. I can't believe that they're not crossing the floor because what he's doing is not right. And I'm speaking specifically of Justin Trudeau and the policies direction of just the global compact on migration and the ignoring of the laws, etc., while screaming rule of law. Oh, just awful. Anyway, here we go. Maxime Bernier. This whole interview is worth watching. Check it out. Link is in the description.
Okay. How has the People's Party of Canada how have people reacted to it across Canada? You are obviously trying to get people and candidates for the upcoming election. How is it going?
It's going very well, more than I expected, because we want to have a candidate in every riding at the next election, and we will be able to have that because, first of all, we have 33,000 founding members after 2 months, and it's growing. We are able to build riding association in every riding. We have 249 riding association ready now. So, and we'll have an organization in every riding before the end of this year. And the next step will be in 2019, starting to work with our riding association and find candidates. And I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to have candidates in our ridings in Canada, and will be very competitive. And I think we can make a big surprise in a year from now.
I have to ask, are you worried about vote splitting though? Because your platform is obviously close to the Conservatives.
I think our platform is a real true conservative platform. People who believe in a smaller government in Ottawa, more freedom for more prosperity. If you look at the Conservative, their platform, they're not conservative anymore. Andrew Scheer said he wants to be a centrist and pragmatic party to please everybody. Like climate change, he wants to sign the Paris Accord. Other subjects that are very important. If you believe in a free market, why having a socialist system in the dairy, poultry, and eggs products? So they're not conservative anymore. So for us, Andrew Scheer was not able to beat Justin Trudeau when I was with him. He's always behind Justin Trudeau in the polls. So right now, I'm not with him, and we are creating this new party, and he's still behind Justin Trudeau. He cannot win. He cannot win. So I'm saying to people, we have the momentum. We are there. If you believe in the freedom ideas, come with us and vote for your values. Vote for what you believe in.
And so I'll leave that there. It's still the stump speech, but at the same time, again, good points, right? Like I don't think there's too much arguing with that. Okay, so to the article, it says, when Maxime Bernier, leader of the nascent People's Party of Canada, PPC, recently appeared on a Quebec TV news panel, the pundits laughed at his suggestion that Ottawa could force an oil pipeline through the province. The host barely contained a smirk as he accused Bernier of wanting to shove a pipeline down the throats of Quebecers. And then they bring on an economist who debunks Bernier. Oh, sorry, that's next. Okay, so I've skipped down a bit. Bernier, 55, who represents the federal riding of Beauce, south of Quebec City, slammed the door on the Conservative Party on the eve of its August convention. The Tories, he said, were too intellectually and morally corrupt to be reformed, and on September 14th, he launched the PPC. Quote, "You saw the reaction of those pundits when I expressed a totally normal point of view," he said, referring to his pipeline stance. While he calls his policies normal, they're designed to upend the Canadian order. I mean, I would say that building pipelines west and east is not a controversial statement. I think that a lot of Canadians want that, including Quebecers. I think that's insanity that the Global News is reporting these policies as upending the Canadian order. What exactly is the Canadian order? Bring in more Europeans on our or not even Europeans, Africans and wherever the immigration minister, Mr. Hassan, wants to bring them in from, Somalia, right, on our dime, and put them up in a hotel? You know, wherever you're from, just come on over the border legally, no problem, we'll put you in a hotel. Is that the Canadian order now? Is that what you're fighting for, Global News? Ridiculous. Okay, back to the article. Bernier proposes a drastic reduction in immigration to Canada, cutting levels by more than 40% from the Liberal government's current target of 330,000 people in 2019. Well, the current immigration is at 310, not 330, so that's kind of funny. The target may be 330 in 2019, but the current level is 310, and it's not a 40% reduction if you take 2018's rate. But I guess they're going with 2019's rate because, you know, next week is 2019. But still, it's still a snaky way to do it in the article. It obfuscates the truth, right? Like, it's very, very sneaky. Okay, he calls his population, he being Maxime Bernier, back to the article, he calls his policies smart populism, promising to shrink the size of federal government to such an extent that provinces would have no choice but to develop their own natural resources or find other ways of creating wealth. A PPC government would stop transfers to fund provincial healthcare. Right. Oh, then they leave a picture of another video and then back to the article. Instead, it would give tax points to the provinces so they can collect their own health revenues, and it would not use federal dollars to pay for local infrastructure projects. Ontarians shouldn't be paying for provincial roads in New Brunswick, he says. Another of Bernier's core principles is to make the federal equalization program less generous. Under the program, Ottawa redistributes part of the money it collects to poorer provinces to ensure citizens across the country are offered comparable services. Citizens in Alberta, who have among the top median household incomes in the country, receive nothing from equalization equalization. In Bernier's home province, where successive governments have rejected proposals to develop the province's shale gas or oil potential, the government is set to receive more than $13 billion in equalization in 2019. That's right, and the oil patch is in a shambles, and Alberta gets nothing. Back to the article. Quote, we need to change the equalization formula to create incentives so that other provinces develop their public policies that create wealth, Bernier said. And here's where they bring in the economist who tries to debunk Bernier's stance, but then agrees with him in the end. Like, yeah, he's right. This is the equalization payments are a welfare trap, and it's probably better to end it and force provinces to develop their own natural resources because they're there. We're a very rich country. We don't need to rely on Alberta, and it's a shame that we've been doing it for the last 40 years. It's insanity. It doesn't make any sense. And these news people, these newspapers, these television stations, they don't tell the whole story clearly. Clearly, they don't tell the whole story because, I mean, the story is everybody's happy and we all live in Canada and kumbaya, right? I don't know. Okay, back to the article. Ending Supply Canada in management, the system that sets the price for poultry, eggs, and dairy and blocks foreign competition would reduce grocery bills, Bernier says. Cutting corporate taxes would attract more foreign investment and create jobs. Reducing regulation in the telecom industry and privatizing airports would open the door to competition and lower gas prices, he argues. So I actually didn't know that privatizing airports was in the platform, but it is. Here it is, right in the platform policy. It says it's in the making every Canadian richer plank of the platform. It says lower air travel costs by privatizing airports and opening the sector to more competition. So it's interesting. I haven't read into it enough to have an opinion either way. My knee-jerk reaction was this is a bad idea because it opens the door for corporations to gouge us, but we're already being gouged at the airport. I mean, really. Even the tax-free stuff is gouging in Canada. It's really not a good system. And before I knew and did reading about our Canadian healthcare, I would have been against the privatization or the having a public-private system. But now that I've read how those public-private systems work, and they actually make the public system better because they remove a lot of the pressure on the public system because people can choose to pay or have their insurance pay or their work insurance or Blue Cross or whatever insurance pay for the medical treatment, which is currently only allowed to be paid for by Canadian government, right? Like there's no room for private system in Canada. It's not possible. So I don't want to get derailed and having a really wonky policy conversation. I just didn't realize that the privatization of airports was in the platform, and I find it interesting. They're just spreading as many parts of the platform out, which is good and bad because you can get knee-jerk reactions like he wants to privatize healthcare. Well, that's lost my vote. And then they never look further at the party, right? They just dismiss it, which is exactly what the news is trying to do. So anyway, back to the article. He has 10 months, Bernier has 10 months before the next election to convince enough Canadians he's right, and his first challenge is finding the disenchanted who have stopped voting. Bernier claims his party is picking up momentum with roughly 34,000 members and more than $540,000 collected in donations. Skipping down, while he is most popular in Alberta at the moment, he believes he can draw support across the country, even in Quebec, where his pipeline policies upset the political class. Premier François Legault dismisses Alberta's dirty energy that would have flowed through the Energy East pipeline, which was shelved following strong opposition in Quebec. Bernier says many people in Quebec support the project. Their voices were just drowned out by environmentalists and the elite pundits on television. He seemed to revel in the response he provokes from the elites, claiming they fail to grasp what is at stake. Quote, I think it's motivating and exciting when we defend the ideas that are foundational, the foundation of Western civilization, he said. So I found all of that interesting, and the link is in the description. I hope you do too. The last thing I'll leave you with, and it's like a series of 6 tweets, but I'll show it to you because it's very interesting. I saw this tweet before I went to bed last night, 19 hours ago, 5:10 p.m., December 26th, and I thought, well, there's going to be more to this story. This is interesting. Where's this going to go? And it went in an interesting direction, a direction I didn't expect. So here's Maxime Bernier's tweet. He says, this one wins the prize for the most hypocritical of Scheer's tweets this year, claiming that cheese and dairy are expensive because of Trudeau's taxes, when both he and Trudeau are responsible as LibCon supporters of the dairy cartel. This is frankly despicable. And he's reacting to this tweet here, and we'll look at Andrew Scheer's tweet, and it says, Justin Trudeau's failure to make life more affordable means more Canadian families are struggling to just get by. Canada's conservatives are fighting so Canadians can get can start to get ahead. And he's got milk and cheese on here, and it says, this is Trudeau's 12 Days of Failure meme, and it says, since Trudeau took office, the average Canadian middle-class family is paying $800 more in income tax, and that's before the carbon tax and new payroll taxes. But it is pretty hypocritical when Mr. Scheer has fought publicly for the dairy supply management that Trudeau supports as well. So Maxime Bernier called him out on it, and then called him out again. He says, this is this morning. So the first one was last night. This is this morning, 8:12 a.m. He says, Scheer's claiming that cheese and milk are expensive because of taxes instead of supply management. He wants us to forget he's in the dairy cartel's pocket, that he has no principles, that he can be bought by any powerful lobby group. That's why he's lying now, to cover his tracks. And again, it's a link to the same tweet. And then other people started to pick this up. So Andrew Coyne, I think that's how you say his name, Coyne, Andrew Coyne. Seriously? You're putting the cost of cheese and milk on him? And responding to the same tweet, right? The Andrew Scheer tweet. And this is just other people responding, and have been retweeted on my Twitter feed. And I thought it was kind of funny. Like, this is a thing. You can't, I mean, you can be a hypocrite, I guess, but it's kind of, people will call you out on it. And Canadian politics is getting a little hotter, guys. People are going to call you out on it and make memes about it. And I mean, Mr. Scheer, this was a silly choice, really. I mean, when the lobby does buy you the leadership of the second biggest party in Canada, maybe you should be quiet about it and be humble, right? I hated watching that. I really did. I can't believe that Maxime Bernier didn't stand up and walk out, because, man, that's ridiculous. And here is Brent saying, isn't Andrew Scheer the one that supports the high dairy prices through dairy cartel in Quebec? What a hypocrite. This is one reason why this longtime conservative is voting for Maxime next time. And Mr. Ezra Levent is also tweeting about the same thing. It says, he says it's true that Trudeau's taxes will raise the price of everything, but you have included milk and cheese in your graphic. Those are expensive because of your dairy cartel donors. That doubles the price. It's so weird you'd sneak those images into your political messaging. Man, yeah, it's like you almost don't want people to notice that you've done it, but now we've all noticed and pointed it out. And like from lowly, just everyday people to your political rivals to news people and now to YouTubers. Like, it's quite funny that it blew up that way. And, I don't know, don't be a hypocrite and it won't, right? Simple. So thank you for watching. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca. Really, I did a lot of reading about the privatization of, offering the public-private healthcare. And it is, I think it's going to be difficult to sell at first because Canadians love their healthcare. But at the same time, there are a lot of negative stories about bad healthcare because of the improper management and because of the strain that's on our system. And there's going to be a breaking point. People are going to say there has to be a better way, and there is a better way. We just have to get past the knee-jerk reaction of being reactionary when people say, maybe we could do this better. Maybe we could do this in a better way, because it seems like we'd be losing everything. And I don't know. It's an interesting conversation to have, but we should have the conversation. It's necessary. All right. Thanks for watching. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca.